welcome to Sea of Thieves. This is Damron with Trash Ass Gamers, and we're playing the tall tales of the new anniversary update in Sea of Thieves. This is part 7, The Fate of the Morningstar. This is going to be a complete guide. We'll show you everything in the mission, and also we're obviously trying to get all the commendations in every mission as we're making progress towards the Seeker of Grand Adventure achievement, which is to get all commendations in all of the tall tales, which includes obviously finding all of the journals in every mission. So we're also going to show all of the Ghost Hunters journal locations. If you're coming just for that, that's going to be at the end of the video. I'll leave a timestamp for exactly where that starts in the comments. Obviously, you'll get the Fate of the Morningstar achievement when you beat this for the first time, and you'll also get the Unbroken Bond when you get all the commendations in this particular tale. So the way we're going to start this tale is actually go to the Ferry of the Damned. Pick your poison, however you want to die to get here, and you're going to find the book on the left side of the ferryman to start the actual tale. And he's going to talk to you for a little bit, and eventually he's going to task you with finding his enchanted lantern at where he died, where his resting place was. And this is a pretty straightforward tale, though. The only bit of variability is actually right here in the beginning, in which he can send you one of two places to find his enchanted lantern. And the first place that he could send you is Kraken's Fall. He tells you he's going to be at the top of Kraken's Fall at its peak, his highest point, and he's going to be looking up at the branches. So you're going to basically go to the highest point on the island underneath a tree. So go ahead and launch yourself up there. And as we're making our way, I do want to take this moment just to say, I appreciate all the support that I've gotten thus far. As always, keep the comments coming. It's kind of a new channel. I've enjoyed doing all this and putting it together. It's been very fun. So back to the tale, though. Again, you see we're going to dig up that sarcophagus right here. The second place that it could possibly send you is Marauder's Arch. Same scenario, though. He says, it's at the highest peak. I do like to park on the north side of Marauder's Arch anytime I come here, because there's a lot of cannons that can shoot your parked boat. So even though the sarcophagus is actually on the other side of the island. So we're going to launch up here and make our way to the west-southwest portion all the way to the top, and you're going to see again this large rock with a tree on top. This is the highest peak, so dig there, and that's the second possible place his sarcophagus could be. Whichever place he sends you, you're going to dig it up and you're going to find his enchanted lantern. And once you grab that, then we're ready to proceed to the next part of the tale. So if you're reading through the book, you learned that the ferryman learned how we saved Wild Rose and George earlier in one of the tales, and we kind of rescued their souls, and he's kind of curious if we can do that with some lost souls that are lingering on the southern sands of the Old Faithful Isle. So those souls are Dinger, Fontaine, and Captain Slate. So what we want to do is we want to head to Old Faithful Isle, the southern shores, and that's going to be where the mission starts. So if we go to the southern shores, and now we whip out our enchanted lantern, and you need to hold it up, you need to use it, then you're going to be able to see the bridge between, souls and the living. So you're only going to be able to see certain things with this lantern equipped. And as we move up the aisle, here are Dinger, Fontaine, and Captain Slate, and they kind of run up this hill up here, and if you follow their footsteps, all three of them are originally kind of walking up, and there's really no variation to this. So actually, in fact, when you replay this mission, you don't have to actually follow the footsteps. You can just go where the items are if you know. So what's going to happen, you're going to see two footsteps that kind of veer off to the left and one that goes to the right. So let's go ahead and follow the left footsteps up a little bit, and eventually those two footsteps are also going to split again, one right and one left. So let's go ahead and follow the one to the right, and that's going to show us Dinger on the top of the rock here as he gets shot off the cliff. So we'll follow down there and again keep our lantern up, and you're going to see some skeletons with a chest. And if we follow now, we're seeing the skeleton's footsteps. We're limping here with our broken leg, but we're following these footsteps all the way to a point at which the skeleton footsteps will then split. One will kind of go right up a hill, and then the other one will go straight right here. So let's go ahead and keep going straight, and eventually that's going to lead us to a skeleton that is burying a chest. So that's going to let us know that we need to dig a chest up at that location. So we'll go ahead and take that chest back to the, where the skeleton footsteps diverged, whip out our lantern again, and now we'll follow the footsteps up the hill. And you know how the footsteps work now, so I'm not going to show you the path of me taking all the footsteps every time. So eventually when you follow that footstep, you're going to come to this cannon, and if you're looking at the soul portion, you basically need to match the cannon up with the, angle that it has in its soul version. And when you match that up, then you're going to launch yourself out of it, and it's going to lead you to, you're going to kind of land in the water right at a location where a key is. So grab that key, make your way back to the chest that you left, and now we can unlock it, and we'll free our first soul, which is Dinger, and he's nice and happy about that. Alright, so if we head back to the footsteps where Dinger kind of diverged to the right, now we'll follow the left footsteps. And again, I'm not going to show you the entire path, right? It's pretty easy. Just make sure you're kind of following the lit up footsteps, and eventually that's going to lead you to a skeleton who's firing a gun. And you want to walk in the direction where he fired that gun, and you're going to see essentially what looks like someone crawling and bleeding on the ground, and that's going to lead to Fontaine. Who is now deceased with some skeletons around her. And now again we're following two sets of skeleton footsteps down this hill, at which point right here one will diverge to the left and one will diverge to the right. So let's follow the right one first, and that'll lead us to the chest, similar to what happened with the first set of footsteps. And then we'll, take that chest and drop it off at the divergence, and then we'll head left, follow these footsteps around, and these footsteps are actually going to lead us to a switch that's on the wall. And that can be kind of dark and hard to see if you don't have your lantern up. But that's going to drop a cage that's going to have the second skeleton key. So now we can take that key back to the chest, and now we'll get to free Fontaine.
Is it over?
So now we're back at the beginning where Dinger and Fontaine diverged, and then Captain Slate went this way by himself. So now we're going to follow the single set of footsteps, and eventually it's going to lead you up to the fort area where you're going to see a pretty cool little set of scenes where, Captain Slate is fighting this Captain Skeleton Lord. And basically you always want to walk backwards from where he is, right? So if you walk backwards from where Captain Slate is, that's going to lead you to the next scene. And eventually Captain Slate's going to meet his demise, and now we're following the Captain Skeleton Lord's footsteps to the entrance of the fort down here, where you can see Captain Slate has been slain. And the first set of skeleton footsteps kind of go off to the right here, and you're going to see a skeleton throw the key into the water. So just kind of go ahead and jump with the same kind of projectile, and you should see the key down here. And then if we go back up to where the scene was, actually behind them is a map of Old Faithful Isle. And the X on this map is actually telling you where the chest is, because we don't see a second set of footsteps. Lucky for us, it's actually right here. It's kind of on the north side. It's actually right outside this gate. And if you just take your immediate right, it's going to be right behind a fence, and you will see the skeleton show up once you get there. You just don't get to see the footsteps. So we'll dig that chest up, and then we'll take that back to the key, and we'll release the soul and free Captain Slate from his torment. So now we're ready to head back to the Ferry of the Dam to actually complete the tale. So it's pretty easy, pretty straightforward, not a lot of variation, not no crazy puzzles or anything. So it's not too bad. But before we do that, obviously we want to collect our Ghost Hunters journals. Lucky for us, they're all on Old Faithful Isle, so we really don't have to go anywhere for this mission. So we'll go back to where we started the mission on the southern beach, and if we take a right into the first cave at this white flag, you'll find the first book sitting on the rock here. All right, so the next journals, we're going to get journals 2, 3, 4, and 5. Is at, we want to go to the top of Faithful Isle here, and we're going to kind of go on the northwestern portion of Old Faithful Isle. Again, at the very top, it's right at the same place that we had to launch ourselves out of the cannon to get one of the skeleton keys. We're going to walk up to the rock here, and at the tip of the rock will be a skeleton and book number 2. And then immediately from book number 2, we're just going to head south, and we're going to come up onto like an altar of a bunch of skeleton skulls. And just to the left of that, on the rock there, is the journal number 3. And then from that journal, we're going to head west down this hill here, all the way to where it splits left and right. And we're going to turn left and eventually come upon a kraken skull. And journal number 4 is going to be in the right eye. And the fifth and final Ghost Hunter's journal is going to be in the fort area, kind of on the east side of Old Faithful Isle. And from here, we're going to head south, and we're going to look for basically this little wooden bridge that leads over to a tower. Cross the bridge, and you'll find the book sitting behind the post here. So that's it. We're ready to head back to the Ferry of the Dam. You can see we've rescued Dinger, Captain Slate, and Fontaine. They're all here on the Ferry of the Damned with us to celebrate. And just walk up to the ferryman and he will begin his conversation. You don't have to press X or anything, just kind of get close to him and he'll begin talking. So that's it. It's a pretty easy tale compared to the ones prior. So he'll talk to you for a little bit. Eventually, you'll get the tale complete, and that'll be it for all the commendations, other than obviously completing it 5 times. So if we look into our commendations here, you'll see we have all of them complete. We've got all the journals found. The only thing that's going to be missing is that you're going to have to beat this tale a total of 5 times, and once you do that, you'll have all the commendations in this particular tall tale. So I hope you guys enjoyed the guide. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, feel free to like and subscribe, and hopefully we'll see you out on Seas, and we'll see you in part 8.